all of our schedules are, I mean, they fluctuate so much. And so we're right now, there's just a few of us, myself and Bill Penrod has been consistently in the dining room, I think once a week. And we'll start seeing a few more. And no set schedule at this point. We may kind of settle on a set rotation, but nothing set right now, which in a way is kind of nice because it makes it a little more spontaneous, and then it gives us the opportunity to, as Sharon mentioned, meet with different residents. I'm a little hesitant to have a set schedule because then it becomes something that, people plan on, which is good on one hand, but then it doesn't always allow the opportunity for us to interact with more residents. All right. I've got a few things I'm going to run through on my list. Feel free to interrupt me and ask questions along the way, and then we can talk about anything else that may be on your mind. Just a couple of upcoming events I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of. Next Monday at 7 p.m., there's a piano concert here in the GRA, and it sounds like, and I haven't heard her play the piano, but it sounds like it is a really special event. A really, really talented pianist who's been playing at Carnegie Hall. And it's just a real treat that we have her, Katya Graneva. So that'll be on Monday at 7 o'clock. And I encourage everyone, if you're interested, don't miss it, because like I said, I think it would be a real special treat. Say that one more time, Shel.
In the activities listing on Cubigo, you are listing on Monday, 6:30 p.m. movie and 7 p.m. concert. Now, how are you having both at the same time?
Oh, it's going to be a fun evening.
I think the movie will be postponed.
Yeah, I think there was a news item, and those news items, oftentimes we schedule them out weeks, if sometimes months in advance. And I think there was one that was scheduled, but I think the movie has been postponed, but that news item didn't get cleared before it published on the scheduled date. So yeah, no movie, piano instead. Also, let's see. There is on Sunday. Anyone know what happens on Sunday? It doesn't matter because it's not the 49ers, right? Oh. I'm sorry, can you say it one more time?
We never had to pay 12 points for it. It was always free. I've been here almost 11 years, and it was always free on the Super Bowl. We never had to pay for it.
That's a good question.
We never had to pay for it before. This is the first time we've had to pay for it.
What would be better?
Well, I don't know why you can't have it free. You could have it free for a change. We have to pay for everything else. And
Okay.
it's sort of nice to have something that's free for a change.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. All right, no charge. Thank you for asking the question. Yeah, well, where was it communicated about a charge? Oh, is it? Okay. All right. Okay, yeah. Okay. So no charge, but if you get wine or beer, there would be a charge for that. Is that what we should do? Is that what makes sense? Okay. Sandy, no charge for the Super Bowl. I think I don't know where that decision was made, to be honest. I didn't really know anything about it, but it makes sense that there's no charge, and I don't think it's a Sandy thing.
No, I didn't put that on. I wasn't going to charge residents for food. I don't know where that came from, and I've been away for a couple of days. So there should be no charge. I'll confirm with Paul McRae and Sherry about that. I don't know where that came from either.
Okay.
Maybe the wine and the beer.
Yeah, I mean,
That
yeah,
I
I
get.
think the general consensus is there should be a charge if people want wine or beer,
Alcohol.
but okay.
Alcohol, but the food, no, I won't be charging
Yeah.
you for that.
All right, perfect.
That's why I came down.
Yeah, thank you, Sandy. Good timing. Thank you for asking the question, Ms. Jacobs. And thank you on behalf of everybody else too. So, but what that means is everybody's got to come because it's not a party if there's nobody here. What time? Here?
No. Super. Yeah. There's nothing I could do about the symphony and the orchestra.
Oh,
That was
oh.
on them. That
Oh, it's
wasn't
an-
a Sandy thing.
Oh,
either.
it's so the symphony and orchestra. It's a off-site thing.
Correct. The one,
Okay.
the symphony had the same date as the orchestra. I can't fix that. That's there.
Oh, so there's symphony
Uh-huh.
separate. There's
An
oh,
opera and there's a symphony.
oh.
And
Well, I think they just need to change the Super Bowl then. Sandy, get on that, would you?
I'm going crazy with all these things happening right now.
Yeah, it sounds like the bus is
Yeah.
going to be busy.
Oh.
This is for the Super Bowl? Okay.
That's
okay.
3:30.
All right.
I'll make those changes. I don't know who puts them up. I didn't put that up, but
Okay.
I'll fix it.
Okay. So 3:30 here on Sunday, Super Bowl, no charge except if you get wine or beer. What's that? Or you can bring your own. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Make it a party. Sandy's going to be here. Sandy's going to bring her own. Okay. All right. Thank you, Sandy, for coming in. Okay. Any more Super Bowl related questions? Did we get that all cleared up? I think. Okay. I better make a note so I. $3:30. All right, Valentine's Day dance here in the GRA at 6:30. Should be a fun time also. There's the boys team charity organization are going to be here. And from what I hear, it sounds like it's going to be a great night. So we encourage everyone to come. And they're cute, according to Flo. And well trained.
And they're very nervous.
And they're very nervous.
They have a very quick dance lesson just prior to us arriving. And so it's usually a delightful evening.
That's fun. $6:30, I think. Now I'm nervous with all of the times. I have 6:30 written down here. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to mention is, does anyone here or who here knows Jocelyn, who is our activity coordinator in the lodge? Great, we've got a few. She's fantastic. And she has started thank you. She started a Spanish class, which I think is a really, really awesome thing. So everyone is invited if you are interested to join in Spanish classes. They are this month. There's one more class this month. I think it's on Wednesday, the 22nd. And then I believe the plan is after the end of this month, it's going to be every Wednesday. And so all residents are invited. They take place in the Shasta room, which is at the end of the second floor in the lodge. And if there's not enough space, then we'll move to a larger space if need be. So just a lot of really great benefits from learning a second or maybe a third or a fourth language. So if anyone is interested at any skill level, if you don't know any Spanish or if you know a ton of Spanish already, everybody is welcome to join and participate. Any questions on that? 2 o'clock. Yes, for an hour. Yeah. Yeah. I think actually I think there may have been some classes already, but we didn't sort of publicize it globally, if you will, until this month. But yeah, there was the conflict yesterday, so she was aware of that. So she wasn't anticipating large attendance. The first or the next class is Wednesday, February 22nd at 2 p.m. And then the plan as it sits right now, but we'll make sure it's communicated, is that there'll be every Wednesday moving forward. This Sunday, we're back to Super Bowl talk. It's not Super Bowl related, but it is impacted by Super Bowl. So this Sunday we have the Super Bowl, as we've previously discussed. We also have, it sounds like, symphony and opera, other things. On top of all of those things, a chapel service will take place with Reverend David Bowman. And instead of it taking place in the GRA, it will take place in the lodge dining parlor. And that is at 3 p.m. I think it's always at 3 p.m. on Sundays. So this Sunday, if you plan to attend the chapel service with David Bowman, will be upstairs in the lodge dining parlor, which is just the front area in front of the dining room in assisted living. So it sounds like this Super Bowl has taken priority over chapel service, which I mean, all right. Speaking of the tea yesterday, who participated yesterday in that event? Oh, a lot. How was it? Good. Great. Yeah. So yeah, huge thank you to everyone involved, the social committee, in making that happen. Wonderful, wonderful. Flo. Start over, Flo.
Okay. I know that the men's group is waiting with bated breath to have their next meeting, and they're already scheduling one for March. And if the doors are in fact in place and working, I will advise the person who's leading that committee, my husband. Okay, good. And he's already got Paul, our dining room manager, and our chef, John, lined up as speakers for that first meeting. And the group is getting together and generating more ideas so they can have meetings every Tuesday, second Tuesday of every month for the men.
Great. Thank you for that. And so the partitions, some of you may have seen in the dining room, are up. They were installed this morning. I haven't, I went and I saw them. I haven't gotten any information about if there's any additional work that needs to be done before they're functional. But I anticipate that if there is, it would certainly be done by the time that the men's group is scheduled to meet. So we're good. We should be good to go. And they look good. I mean, I haven't seen them closed, but I saw them all piled up, and the idea was to sort of make them so that they just kind of disappear and blend in. So I think they look good. Yeah, they're sort of folding panels. I don't know, it's 8 or 10 panels that go across. They slide over and can separate off the back part of the main dining room to become known as the private dining room, which we haven't used the term private dining room for several years because we haven't actually had the ability to have a private dining room. But now we'll start talking more about the private dining room. And on the subject of the private dining room, if there are events that need to be scheduled or you'd like to have scheduled in the private dining room, unless instructed otherwise at a future date, contact Sherry to make arrangements for the use of the private dining room. And on a related note, to reserve any other spaces for meetings or events as of February 20th, all of those requests and scheduling for meeting space or event space will be through Nina Tan, who will be starting on February 20th as our Director of Community Engagement, which will be her official title, which Activities Director, Life Enrichment Director, Lifestyles Director. Every place has a slightly different title for similar positions, but Nina Tan will be our Director of Community Engagement. Super excited. I am super excited for her to start. She is very excited to start, although she's also very sad about leaving the community she's been at for the last 9 years. I'd mentioned it before, but she's coming from Life's Gardens, which is one of our human good affordable housing communities in Sunnyvale. And so we're excited that she's coming over and already a part of the human good organization. I know several of you in various different situations have had the opportunity to meet and interact with her, and all of the feedback that I've heard has been very positive from those that have met her. She just really shined through the whole recruitment and interview process, and the community where she's currently at and her team that she works with has just nothing but wonderful things to say about her. So I think it'll be a big win for our community. Again, she'll start on February 20th. Yes, David.
Judy Hackett applied to return and was rejected. Is there any truth to that rumor? Or how much of it, or tell us about what's going on? Judy was a wonderful director for 15 years or so, and I'm very disappointed that she will not be returning.
I can't say a whole lot other than it's not totally accurate.
Well, I was hoping you could maybe tell us what's not correct about that. She applied and was rejected,
sh-
as I understand. I mean, that's,
yeah,
Right.
yeah, I really can't share. But uh, last I heard is that she took a activities director position at another community and was very excited about it.
so she took that after being rejected here, I'm assuming. Is that correct?
I can't say, but no, that's not the case. But yeah, I can't get into specifics, unfortunately. Okay. All right, we'll move on. We excited to have a new sous chef that has joined our team earlier this week. Mohammed Hamed has joined our team, and super excited. Really, really great culinary skills, and he's got an experience and a really good knowledge and understanding of senior living. So he's got the culinary skills that we need, and he also has the understanding of the environment in which we work and the complexities of that come along with working in a senior living community as opposed to restaurants or other types of environments. So you'll probably get the opportunity to cross paths with him, and super excited to have him on board. We still have an additional sous chef position that's open that we are trying to find the right fit for. We're also still recruiting for a maintenance supervisor position. So we have been interviewing candidates and hope to have that position filled. It looked like a couple of times we were going to have that position filled, but they didn't pan out. So we have a few strong candidates that we've been interviewing over the last couple of weeks. Flo. Yes, so I will explain how that position fits into the hierarchy of the maintenance department. So there are, does anyone remember? I'm sure some people do. Oh my gosh. Nope, not so. Okay, so Rick Hatzenbuehler, for the old timers here, Rick Hatzenbuehler was the maintenance director 5 years ago. And at the time, Vincent Foresta was the maintenance supervisor. So Rick Hatzenbuehler moved on. Vincent eventually was promoted into the maintenance director position. And then a gentleman named Carlos Adrian, Adrian, I think his first name was Carlos, but he went by his middle name, it was Adrian, was the maintenance supervisor. And Adrian hasn't been with us for about a year. And so we haven't filled that position. So it's a supervisor position that would basically be our number 2 in the maintenance department. I don't know, working closely with Vincent and working with Wazid, the maintenance lead. And the maintenance supervisor traditionally has had a very active role in collaborating with contractors for the apartment remodels in residential living, and also kind of overseeing daily work order maintenance orders. So hopefully that answered the question.
Can I go back to dining for just a second?
Yes.
And say it's been very nice having John come into the dining room and meeting people and asking if they're enjoying the food or asking for suggestions.
Oh, good.
So I'm hoping your new sous chef will be able to do that once he's acclimated to our facility.
Great. Thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. Yes, Marlon. So the question was, I mentioned that we have 2 sous chef positions, and what is it that the The two chefs have a variety of responsibilities. And between the two of them, primary responsibilities are one, I mean, the primary responsibility is amongst them in collaboration with Chef John, just overseeing daily operations within the kitchen. At a supervisory level, extra set of eyes, working hand in hand with the cooks in the kitchen, providing support, providing guidance, providing leadership, just overseeing the sort of daily operations. And then they're also the ones that are primarily responsibility for things like ordering and inventory management of all of the supplies. You're welcome. Good question. Judy. Good question. And if anyone didn't hear, the question is, why are there some things that are on the main, the dining room menu, in the menus in the dining room, that are not available on the takeout online ordering menus? Okay. So I don't know the specifics, but I will dig into that a little bit further. I know that there are some, and this is not to be an excuse, but an explanation. We have two different menu systems, unfortunately, and so there's, as I understand it, the two systems are not integrated to the extent that you put all of the information into one and then it filters out to all of the other menus. And but rather they need to be sort of manually entered into a couple different systems. And so it may just be a data entry issue, or it may be something more complex, but I will find out. And if there's a way that we can fix that, we will. You will. Oh, Sharon, could you pass the mic? I'm sorry.
No, for the whole week, I have asked her and she says that she has problems of getting in everything on the that weekly, which you can pick up as it is now. Any more dishes are not available because I asked her once.
So there's a cap on the
Computer.
Okay. I'll dig into it and see if there's a way that we can resolve that issue. I think yeah, I don't know. I'll find out. All right. A couple of other quick things. Oh, okay. Let's see. We're working on a project which I don't think we've previously announced, but we are going to be adding some cellular service boosters throughout the community. And the primary, initially the primary objective, based on, I think, conversation that we had in previous community chats, was for the parking garage. So right now, there's essentially no cell service inside the parking garage, I believe, on either level. And so they're going to be installing some boosters, which will allow cell service inside the parking garage, first and second levels, which obviously is a safety issue, which was the primary concern. And as we were sort of planning for that, there were some additional locations throughout the community that are scheduled to have boosters installed. And I believe areas are in assisted living, first and second floors, and then also in this side of the A building as well. So we should see we should see an improvement in cell service throughout the community. We don't have a date scheduled yet for that work to be done, but I anticipate it'll be sometime in March.
I'm not sure about Q and R, but I know the L building could use some booster.
Oh, really? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
With the Human Good Board and numerous other people coming on the 22nd, I think it is. How are we going to handle that in the dining room as far as capacity goes?
We are not going to handle it in the dining room. Everything will take place here in the GRA. So what Sharon is referring to is on February 22nd, we will have a visit to the community. There'll be about 45 people total, and it'll be members of the Human Good Board, and then some. I don't know the dynamics of everyone that's involved, but there'll be a combination of board members, executive team from Human Good, resident
Human Good
council,
Residents Council.
Human Good Resident Council members. And so, yeah, the plan is, just so everyone is aware, there'll be a bus that will arrive, I think around 4:30 that day. And then the plan is for everything, for everything to take place here in the GRA, potentially spill out into the Galleria a little bit, but it won't impact the dining room for that evening. I think they arrive around 4:30, and then they'll be gone as soon as we can nudge them out the door. No, I think to 7:30, something like that. The 22nd. What's the purpose? So it's and Sharon, you may be able to speak more about this. But the board and the Human Good Residents Council, they have meetings
Quarterly.
quarterly.
Yeah, and they usually go to a hotel or to a facility, a Human Good facility. And their residents at the facility also offer tours of the property. And it's usually very nice.
So yeah, it's sort of in collaboration with their quarterly meetings, which are not being held here, being held off-site. But it's always a good opportunity for them to be able to come and see the communities. And as Sharon mentioned, Linda, our sales director, is collaborating with residents to coordinate tours for those that are interested.
Thank you for raising your hand and letting me get to you in time.
Yeah,
Yes,
if I
Shane.
could sneak this in,
Please.
Community Currents is going to be having a police dog February 28th. And we will have the trainer and the police dog out, and it should be well worth coming to. The other thing I want to bring up is I think many of us are concerned about our living standards, and that includes the elevators, where it's very difficult for us to move to a different apartment in order to be safe. And we would really like to have information about the history of what has been done in order to secure elevators, what the problems are, the cost of the elevators, the time it would take from an elevator to go from one store to another, and have some idea of how it would work out having people from the third floor or second floor come down with the elevator. What about people in wheelchairs and so forth? Could you give us some information about that?
What I can say is we are actively engaged in conversations with the elevator company as well as an electrician to determine a couple of things. We have some plans currently in place to upgrade the existing elevators. Those plans do not, as they sit right now, include the ability to run the elevators on backup emergency power. Based on overwhelming feedback from the community, we have re-engaged in the conversation to figure out exactly what it would take to get the elevators connected to emergency power in the event of an outage. So I don't have any more specific information I can share other than it is on the table, and it looks like, based on the conversations that we're having, that it will be feasible to have them hooked up to backup emergency power, but it's not, plans are not finalized yet. So stay tuned, and we should know within the next few weeks what direction we'll be going and what kind of a timeline we have for the work.
Would it be possible to make known to the residents when an apartment on the first floor will become available, so that they would have a first choice to move from their third floor or second floor apartment down to this one? That would solve problems for people who are not needing full care, but they have a wheelchair problem or other handicap problem.
It's a good question, and I mean, I don't have any opposition to sharing that information. I think the most effective way to do it would be to, if there are residents that may be interested in moving to a first floor apartment, the best thing to do would be to coordinate directly with the sales team. And a reason being is oftentimes, not oftentimes, usually, oftentimes, we know in advance when apartments may be becoming available, and that way we can start those conversations sooner and plan accordingly. Otherwise, if we wait until something is available and then we put some kind of a public notice out, then we sort of wait, it could just delay the process. So if there are residents that would like to move to a first floor apartment, I would say reach out to the sales team in advance, and then they can work through that process when those apartments may become available.
I would also hope that there would not be a charge, the usual 10K or whatever it is, if it's a safety issue for the movement to the first floors because they're in a wheelchair or some other situation, because I think that would be a lot cheaper than defending a lawsuit when somebody says, well, my grandma just died on the third floor because she couldn't get down to where the safe position was.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a complex issue because on the flip side, if mom can't exit the building from the third floor apartment, mom should be in a higher level of living. And so there is an obligation on the resident side to be willing to make the transition to the appropriate level of living when that is appropriate. That being said, there may be on a case by case basis, there may be some flexibility with that a traditional transfer fee when moving from one apartment to another. Yes.
There's people on Zoom, right? So.
Yes.
But are you rethinking putting people that are clearly handicapped or at the edge of handicapped or whatever you want to put it, moving into the village and moving into the third floor or the second floor? I mean, it kind of starts with marketing.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And so one of the things that we're working on right now is fine tuning our process for screening and conducting assessments on residents that are moving into the community. One of the things that we, as we have communicated, one of the criteria of living in independent living is the ability to exit the building independently. And so we haven't traditionally, one of the things that we're evaluating is we haven't traditionally physically asked the residents to start at the apartment you would be moving into and exit the building. And so that's one of the things that we're considering. We may just add that as part of the assessment evaluation process. So it is something that it's important that, residents are moving in to the appropriate level right from the start.
I've been hearing from residents who are long-term residents longer than 6 or 8 years, and they in fact had to go through an assessment like that to be able to move to the apartment they moved into. And so I think it's really important that we start that assessment from the very first step. And I also think it's important that we continue to do those assessments. And I can verify that we have not had an assessment asked of us in 4 years. And that's concerning.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay, a couple of other quick things to mention. Art. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you very much. You passed by the questions very fast. We're going to look into it. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But you don't do anything. Why? Why? Why?
He says that you say you're working on it or you're going to do it, but a lot of things we don't see the end result in a timely fashion.
Okay. That is good feedback. Thank you. If there are specific things that I have committed to looking into and haven't gotten feedback, please feel free to follow up with me, and I will make sure that I get you the answers that are promised. Okay, one other quick thing. I've got this nice little plastic box here, and any guesses for what's in here? Gold bars. No. Anyone know what this is? It's a satellite telephone. So this actually is one of the things that has been brought up, and we have finally, proud to say that we've gotten satellite telephones that are now part of our emergency and disaster planning process. So there are two satellite telephones, one that will be here at the community and one that will be held offsite by myself or a designee if I'm not going to be available, so that we can maintain communication in the event that there's an outage. We haven't received the finalized policies yet, official policies for the use of the satellite telephones, but I was excited. They just arrived yesterday, so I wanted to share that we finally got them. So, has it been that long? We got there. So, all right. What else is on your minds that you'd like to discuss?
I may not have the dates right, but it seems to me that on the 6th, which is a couple days ago, there was going to be a big meeting about the master plan,
Yes.
and you were going to know something.
Yes. I don't have anything official yet to share other than, yes, we did have a very productive meeting on the 6th about the campus master plan, specifically the Galleria remodel. And so there are some additional conversations that need to take place before I'm able to share sort of anything official. But I can say we did have a meeting on February 6th as scheduled, and it was very productive. And I will share more once a few other conversations take place. And I have, yeah. So yes, it took place, and it was as scheduled, and it was productive. So we are moving forward. There are there's a few meetings that need to take place before I have more concrete information to share, and those meetings have not yet been scheduled. I anticipate those will take place within the next 1 to 2 weeks, and then I'll have some more information to share after that.
Little follow on.
Else? Yes.
I appreciate all the upholstery cleaning that's going on. Does that mean that furniture is going to stay after the master plan remodel?
No.
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 So we'll have clean furniture in the interim.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Any other questions, comments, feedback? Yes. The question is if the library will also be remodeled. Yes, and the sort of general plans for the library is it will be remodeled, it will be refreshed, it will remain a library as it is currently a library. The sort of layout might change slightly, but it will remain a library, and it will be remodeled. All right. Anything else? All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.